Good evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P 500 for Thursday, October the 26th, 2023. The earnings continue to flow within the NASDAQ. This afternoon, we got Amazon and then also Intel, both being pretty well received by the market, both having a very strong algorithmic reaction, and then the counter reaction when the markets begin to relax and then some back down. Again, if it had anything to do with what we've seen already this week, particularly yesterday, when we saw a very positive reaction from Meta, and then once Globex opened at 6 p.m. Eastern, wham, the stock was down after being, as high as 316, finishing up the after hour session, which we're still in right now, at about 309, 310, and then opening after hours at 288. It was I was like, wow, a big surprise for me. But then it just seemed to somehow fit to what was going on, even though that the earnings and the forward guidance were not all that severe. So we're dealing now all of a sudden with the same thing. Amazon's earnings are good earnings. I mean, they have quite a few things on the line, but they're just now starting their conference call. So we may again start to see, the stock and also the NASDAQ begin to react to anything that additionally will come out. So let's take a look. I'm starting here on the hourly chart, because basically what I'm counting out and what we're looking to see how far we're within all of this is, again, this minor third wave. I'll tell you what, I will start with the fourth, but then I'm coming down pretty quickly. So we are tracking here. We have, that's the primary B, and then we have intermediate one, intermediate wave two, right? Minor one, minor two. So within an intermediate degree, we're in an intermediate third wave down, which will have 5 waves of minor degree, of which we're in 1 and 2. So on the minor degree, we're in the third wave down. And that minor third wave will consist of 5 waves of minute degree, of which we're in minute wave 3 down. So in essence, where we sit is in the third, minute, of the minor 3, that's the second, and of the intermediate 3. So we're in the third of the third of the third. And again, I have repeated, and I'll do it again today, that is kind of like what many people would call the point of recognition, where suddenly the markets begin to realize we're going down for whatever the reason is, okay? So we could go try to search and try to find or whatever, but suddenly we noticed that yesterday the market just started to gap and started to fall pretty steadily, and that continued today. We saw that come in, and this is basis the 4-hour chart. Now I'm going to go quickly down to my hourly and open this up. So again, we're just focusing now on this minor third wave, and we're focusing on the third, that 3 of 3 type of a move, where we saw it, the point of recognition. We're inside of, actually we were inside the minuet wave 5 of minute wave 3 of minor wave 3. So kind of like the late start there. But it did kind of move real quick and real hard, and we broke a lot of support levels, rallied into that close, and again reached the high on yesterday morning, so Thursday, and then dropped again all the way into our close, and then dropped heavily. So we had a decent rally, then we dropped heavily. So I am now trying to count out this minuet fifth wave. And at best, what I kind of come up with is a 1, a 2, a 3, 4, and we're in that fifth wave. Now, and when our comparison is going to be wave 5 is compared to the wave 1 within the sequence. This minuet wave 5 is compared to minuet wave 1. We get to the minute wave 5, it's going to be compared to minute wave 1. So those are the comparisons on an Elliott basis that we use. So using that same one, I can connect fibs by putting fib start, mid to the finishing point is where that fifth wave would begin. That's going to give me comparisons or fib relationships between the fifth and the first wave. The most common remains and always will be equality. And that is where wave 5 would have been equal to wave 1. We've already surpassed it, so I've taken it off. In fact, I'll put it back on just for safety's sake so that we can see it. And you'll see where it is. 14,223 is where that 5 would equal 1. So that went through that. That's the most common. The second most common is wave 5 will equal 1.618 of wave 1. That level is 14,077. That remains active. So I'm going to take off that 100 again. And oops, I didn't mean to do it that way. My apologies. Let me put that back up because this is going to be important for us to have. And that'll go over, oops, right there. And so we had the 618. And so both of those are out because they've already gone. Oh, damn it, I did it again. My apologies, folks. Suppose it's sort of like chewing gum and walking at the same time. Or talking at the same time. There we go. Now we got it over this way. Now I got it. Can you tell? Long days. Okay, so first, equality. We surpassed that. We continued to decline. So it didn't finish there. Second most common, 1.618. That's 14,077, 78 down in that area is represented by the marker right there. So now, what I then placed together with this, right? Because we've gone through all the different levels on the minute wave 5. So when we're looking at well, actually the minuet wave 5, not even this is the internal. The minuet wave 5 is compared to minuet wave 1. We've gone through them all, and I'm going to put them back up so that we can see them. I take them off because there's the equality. There's the 1.618. There's the 2.618. Those are the sequences that we would use. So here we have where this would have equaled 1 at 14,662. Well, that actually would never really come into play because the fifth wave should be breaking the low of the third wave. So that would not be included. 1.618 at 14,485 would have, but you can see we went through it and yesterday and just kept on going. So rather than leave those there and really cloud the chart, like what is that level and why is it there, I take them off. Now, some people may not go like, well, I'm hard to follow that. It's like, I understand. Even 2.618 was exceeded today. So I took it off as we're looking to see what's left. So in other words, let me try to put this together. So we're looking for, or I am now tracking, where is this low for minuet wave 5 going to come in? And what I'm now in is 1, 2, 3, 4 within minuet. So I'm now down to a sub-minuet level on a degree. So it's going to pull it all in, and I'm formulating, honing in consistently on where should this come in. Now, if I open this up a little bit, you'll notice underneath that is 2.618. Again, we're in a third wave. all the way up to an intermediate degree, to a minor degree, and also on a minute degree. So we got all these third waves kind of building up. Could this extend even further? Yes, it could. And the market is kind of in that mode where it's like, it just pushes and it pushes and it pushes. We saw it again today. Was a particular reason? You could go and you could check and you could try to figure it out. But I think many times it's just, hey, technically, market's doing what it's doing. So that's why I use the fibs. That's why, and then I just continue to build what my picture looks like. So, okay, so now we're at that point. Now we're looking at this thing going like, okay, where can this fifth wave, minuet fifth wave, the sub-minuet fifth wave, where can that all pull in? Well, for the minuet, we're looking down here. But in essence, okay, and this is my interpretation, in essence, it's already met the requirements for that fifth wave of minuet degree. It is exceeded the 3 by far. It is coming down in 5. And that's my challenge right now. Is this small fifth wave within this fifth wave complete? And one hand, I could probably say yes, but again, then we had this. And now I'll tell you what comes. So if this completed, and I were to put a 5 here, right? A minuet 5, and then a minute 3. What comes after that is going to be a minute fourth wave, ABC, bounce. And so let's just use this as an example that this fifth wave, the minuet fifth wave, is complete, and it completed it right there. That was a slight new low below what happened before. So who knows, stranger things. But if I had to put that in there, and we put the 5 and the 3, then what we're looking for next is a fourth wave. So now we would take, where did this minute third wave begin? Right there. And where did it end? We're saying right here to give this guesstimate. So what we would then be looking for is an ABC up to, and fourth wave, the most common for fourth wave is 38.2%, a 38.2% retracement of the decline in this case. And that brings us back to 14,597. Now, this technically would be the fourth wave of one lesser degree, although it really is here. But if we go into here, or within that fourth wave of technically one lesser degree, if the degree is minute, the one lesser is minuet. This is a sub-minuet. So we have a lot of things going on. And so, sorry, but if you're noticing there was a little break there, I had to stop the recording, and I just restarted the recording because I had to step away from the computer for a quick moment. So what I'm now trying to determine, as I was discussing, is if the fifth wave and the minute third wave ended here, we'd be looking for a bounce, and a decent sized bounce. All right, so this was 14,140, and we're looking for a minimum of like 450 points. Excuse me. Yeah, 450 points. That's a nice bounce, but in an ABC. Now, whether they want to, how that all gets coordinated with what earnings we have left and tomorrow's an expiration, et cetera, to be determined. And as we've been talking, you're going to see Amazon is now only up 2 until Well, Intel's still up about $1.90 or so. So you see how this all kind of comes back in. And this market will close in 4 minutes. So it's going to get interesting to see how earnings get paired to what the market is intending to do. So I'm now going to take off these because we don't know, and I'm going to discuss what I'm talking about in terms of that. Do we get another extension within this minuet wave 5? And if we're coming down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 of 5, 2 of 5. And so we're going to get a very large sub-minuet wave 5. So, and it could happen. So we have to be more cognizant or just be prepared. So what if that should occur? What then are what are we looking for? Where's it going to go? Well, our next fib relationship on between wave 5 and wave 1 would be 14,077. A break there drops the fifth down to 13,841. Now that's quite a move. So it's a little bit difficult to kind of go like, wow, what's your gut tell you? My gut tells me that this would be an awfully big 5 when I'm comparing it to the balance. So I'm more in tune to consider this, or somehow this is, doesn't have a whole lot more to go. Now, what is the 3.618 at 13,912? Well, that is for the minuet fifth wave. That would be its next comparison, right? Because we've already now, if we're looking at minuet wave 5 as it compares to minuet wave 1, then we've already gone through equality. I showed you 1.618. We showed you 2.618. We showed you. It's gone through each of those levels. So if this whole wave has still more to go, its next level is 13,912. Now we're breaking it down into this other internal fifth wave. Its next level is 14,077. Beyond that, if it breaks, then we're into this zone down here. So I don't mean to be confusing, but again, if Elliott is a series of building blocks, right, and we're building, and so we're trying to look forward into an area where we don't have that information yet, then we're going to be looking at, okay, let's just kind of look at this. What are the capabilities? And these are the capabilities. These are the probabilities. These are the possibilities. However you want to, what ability you want to stick onto it. That's what we have. And there's more. So outside of all of this, now we're looking at the minute degree. The minute degree, oh, it went away. Yeah, I keep taking things off. And is put that one back on. Because I try to clean up my charts so that I can make it clean so we can see what's going on. And that's going to be, 2.618. So these have all kind of just gone. So what do we got going on for, I'm going to take that, and that off. And let's just take a look at these. The 2.618 we exceeded today, the 3.618 for the minute third comes in at, let's see, it's inside this cluster. And that's 13,859. So do you see how we're starting to build this picture? And again, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but each time I've built the cluster, it's gone down and then went through it. We had a strong cluster at 14,204 to 14,195. came down, played above it, broke it, and sank until it started to get close to the next single level, which is why I think this will get broken. The market will tend to aim for clusters. And so there was a cluster, it broke it. And so what's the next cluster? Down here. And it would still be a part of a third wave. And again, we have to remember, I've been discussing all along on the fact that if we're in this third wave, please note that Amazon is now down. This is the amazing stuff. We watched all the algorithms run in and push that stock up, and the index went with it, and now the stock is down. It's pretty wild. Sorry, back to the update. So all I am attempting to do, I know a lot of this can be confusing, but understand I'm working the fibs for each of the degrees coming off. So I have my minor. Those are all here. We already surpassed a 100. The equality, minor 3 equals that where minor 3 would have been 100% or equal to minor wave 1. That's been exceeded. In fact, I'll put them back on so we can show you. And it's important to kind of just notate these things because that was the 14,204. So that was the cluster today. That, and then we had the 5 underneath it. So this, I did not expect the minor 3 to end, but I thought they could find the support there and turn and finish the minute third. So the minute 3 was at 14,277. A break there dropped me to the support level. And I thought, yeah, that should be pretty strong. It didn't. It flew through it. It just kind of dove through it and got all the way down to 127 as the low. Actually 140. So it gets interesting. So that, because I don't want to cloud up my chart, so I take it off because it's already been exceeded. And so as far as minor third wave, I'm already looking for 1.618. And that's at 13,423. Now, I'm going to move over. Here's my next level. I'm in a minute third wave. It's extending beautifully. Longest, strongest, it's all fits. Helping to make the minor third. Longest, strongest, it all fits. Helping to make the intermediate wave 3. Longest and the strongest. So it continues to fit in. So we're watching this whole picture build. And you can always, you go back out and you take a look at your 4-hour chart. And you're going to see, okay, what am I working on? We're looking for this guy to be longest and the strongest. We're looking for this third to be the longest and the strongest. Is it going to end up being so? Well, yeah, this one's looking pretty good. So the intermediate wave 2, 1.618 down here. And the way that this is coming out is looking like that the minor 3 is likely going to come in down in here. Maybe even down to here. And then we get a 4 and a 5. Remember, what I'm ultimately looking for. I'm looking for the primary C wave to equal the primary A wave at 98. I can't begin to tell you how it's all going to get there, but this is what the technical picture is showing me. And the balance, we just let it happen and follow. Things tend to just work themselves out, don't they? So in other words, if we were here, you're like, okay, we got all these earnings. We were here, earnings, everything's going to be earnings. Boom, we're going up, we're going up, we're going up. Okay. What happened? Something else took place. The wave pattern suggested it. The fibs gave a little bit of confirmation with it. So again, could I tell you what I told you there? Oh, this is what's going to happen. These earnings are going to be well received and then kicked out of the water. No, but it happens. So again, back to here. I'm going to go back down to that hourly chart. So we got to move over because I got to get the S&P in here at some point. So here we are. I'm looking for that bottom. Doesn't look like it's going to come in here. I'm leaving that open. Now I'm discussing what could come next. Well, we got support, 14,077 fib support that could complete the sub-minuet wave 5. If that does not hold, then we're bopped out to our cluster of where the sub-minuet wave 5, the minuet wave 5, and the minute wave 3 can all complete. So we get the 5s done, and that completes the third. Then we get a 4 and a 5 to complete the third. Then we get a 4 and a 5 to complete the intermediate. So again, as I've been talking about all along, we're in a bigger degree. So we're going to have series. We got a series of 4, 5, 4, 5, 4, 5, right? 4, 5 on the minute degree, 4, 5 on the minor degree, and that takes us up to, and then we have 4, 5 on the intermediate degree to finish cycle wave A, or excuse me, primary wave C, and then in turn cycle wave A. Building blocks. All right, so moving averages now. Take a look at this hourly. Everything has fallen into alignment. In fact, the 20 is now really declining, and so's the 50, and so's the 100, and so's the 200. Yep, they're lagging. The 200, it takes it a while. So it's now pointing lower. The 100 is picking up steam. The 50 is getting more vertical, and the 20 is getting rather parabolic to the downside, but it's still pointing hard down. Now, if we can get it to where it kind of gets a little bit flat, it's going to start to show us that, oh, okay, we're kind of maybe looking closer to a bottom, and maybe we start to turn. I'm not doing it. So I am looking for additional. I'm looking for the completion point for the sub to complete the minuet, and in turn complete the minute third. Then we're just going into a minute fourth wave. It will be an ABC move. And we already just showed it there, but I'm saying it's coming in here. It's going to pull it down, but we're looking for an ABC, and it should be a decent size. Let's go over to the S&P, and we'll call it a day. So I hope that helps the explanation of this, of the whole breakdown. It's important that we get an understanding. Now, each time we're kind of going through this, we need to understand that the wave pattern may be different. Same, we're in the markets that kind of go and move together, but there might be slight nuances or slight differences. In this particular case, they're not. They're kind of moving pretty much in line with one another, degree-wise, and even in the subs. So here as well, we're in a minor third, which is a part of that intermediate third, which inside here we have minor 1 and 2, minute 1 and 2, and then we have the minuet 3, the minuet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which will complete the minute third. Within there, we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4 done. All right, and then this was today. It's like, wow, right? It started, so here was Wednesday, then we got Thursday, and it just kept going. It's just been very interesting and more interesting to trade. It's not always the easiest thing to trade, but interesting, yes. I will give it that, interesting. All right, so what we have inside here, same type of a deal. We're inside this. Now, these are sub-minuet waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I connected. So we're working on the same deal. We're comparing sub-minuet wave 5 to sub-minuet wave 1. First would be equality. Let me put that back up because obviously it's already gone through, but I want to show it. Let's show it. 41.61. It sailed on through, came back, rallied, and then sailed back through it. So that, when it sailed back under it the first time, maybe that would have been a completion point because it fits here. See what happened? It sailed through this, the 100% for the sub-minuet wave 5, but in the minuet wave 5 straight, it hit 3.618. That, it's pretty big. Now, is it complete? Questionable. So you might ask, well, what comes after 3.618? Well, if you do the math, and I don't do it much past this, it's 4.236. And I'm going to add it because it looks like we may need it. So we again, in the S&P, we have a cluster right here. This one, let me take that off because that actually is not part of the cluster. So we have 41, 46, which just happens to be, got a little bit lower, came back and took it, right? Just a little bit lower. So the low is 41, 46, 25. And then I put in a good rally and I'm like, yo, there it is. That's the low. Let's look for our 4. Oh, it's not. And then it just takes a nosedive. And then, earnings. Look at that. This thing moved, was up at 126. And now it's back at 119. The earnings up, down, and the market stopped 13 minutes ago. So, otherwise it would still be declining. So what we have left, we still have 41.46, but underneath it, we have a cluster 41.34 and then 41.22. Now, if it continues to break, I got to go with this. So if all these break, it's kind of a large cluster now. And then with this underneath it. So these are support zones to complete sub-minuet 5, minuet wave 5, minute wave 2, minute wave 3. This is for the minor 3. Got to go further than that. So if we can get this done, put in a minute 4, put in a minute 5, then we're looking at that. And I'll be able to put in additional, and all these will be gone, and I'll put in additional until I will go in. But that's the cluster right now. And depends on how hard this market really wants to continue to travel lower. And again, tomorrow is an expiration. We do have, I think it's PCE tomorrow. And so it's like, yeah, all right. Yeah. We have personal income, personal spending. We have PCE index. And then we have at 10 a.m. consumer sentiment. So again, kind of a full day in terms of economic numbers. But again, I am kind of looking for this low to be put in to finish that minute 3rd wave, get our minute 4th wave going. Our immediate thoughts on that is that the 4th wave, we usually find its terminus, this is Elliott, its terminus within the price action or territory of the 4th wave of 1 lesser degree. Well, minute, 1 lesser, minuet. That's up kind of high, and we're looking at it's going from 42.12 to 42.90. So, and being that it is a minute 4th wave, it cannot overlap. So we're not in danger of doing that. But first 4th that I'm going to be looking at is up into here, because what if we get down into here? Going up to 42.05, that's still a pretty sizable move for a 4th wave. All right, that's to be like from here, it's almost 100 points. From here, it's just a little bit over 100 points. Like 110. Actually more. Yeah, 110 points. So those are pretty sizable and a pretty decent move. And it's going to come in an ABC, but yet I cannot tell you where all of this is going to end up. Here we have our cluster. And you'll be watching it during the day and looking for signs and seeing what can happen. I don't know who reports pre-market tomorrow, but there won't be anything after market because it's Friday. So that's really it. Let's just check our daily to see. I think, we just got everything kind of falling into alignment here. The 20 continues to break below the 200. The 200 is now getting kind of flat, which is telling you, getting ready to turn and go down. And then what we also have in here are the, you can tell me I got a shadow on my own screen. Sorry about that. We have the 50 and the 100. So the 50 dropped below the 100. And so now we're basically falling into line. As soon as we all start to fall below the 200 on the daily, look out. We're heading lower. All right, so that's really going to be it for today. And I want to thank you for spending time with me. I want to thank you for your attention. If you have any questions, please go ahead and ask on how I'm explaining what each set of all these fibs and how they work together, at least according to how I do my analysis. And that what we're working on is a bunch of stepping stones coming off of that primary B wave. Don't forget, this is January. This is July, so that's the end of the primary B wave. So we're looking for that primary C wave. And I'm looking for it to continue now, more than likely to the end of the year or into the first quarter of 2024, and then finish up. And seriously, beautiful cycle degree B wave counter trend rally. Those would be nice. All right, I'm going to finish it up right there. Now, the next update will be, I'm hopefully going to get big picture updates done because there's been a lot of activity, a lot going on. So I'll be able to update. Also, interest rates just are nuts. We had serious declines yesterday, replaced by pretty strong rallies again today. So they're also now giving a little bit of a confusing picture of like, what are we really doing? Are we going to go down and put in another new low? On the bond going to spike up again. They did yesterday, but again today they're spiking back down. So a lot going on. So we'll look to update those between Saturday and Sunday. And if anything, the next Elliott wave update will be on Sunday, the 20th. Great weekend. Have a great trading day tomorrow.